A very good morning to all of you. This is a video for the students of class 8th, subject science, chapter number 6, that is combustion and flame. This is your lecture number 4. This is a summary lecture. So we will summarize the complete chapter in this lecture. We use different kinds of fuels for various purposes at home and in industries and for running automobiles. Like we use fuels wood, coal, charcoal, petrol, diesel and CNG. Right. So in this chapter we will study the chemical process of burning. Means process of burning. Means we will study about the combustion. So what is combustion? The process of burning of a substance in the presence of oxygen to give off heat is called combustion. It means when any substance burns in the presence of oxygen, then it will produce heat. And this process of burning is called combustion. Combustion is a chemical change. And in this type of chemical change, oxygen reacts with this substance which is getting burnt. Okay. Oxygen reacts with the substance. So it is a chemical change. And one more thing is, we cannot get back the original substance after combustion. Now on the basis of the combustion, substances are divided into two categories. First is combustible substance and second is non-combustible substance. Now what is combustible substance? This substance that undergoes combustion like paper, kerosene, diesel, petrol and coal. These substances are called combustible substance. Means these substances like paper, kerosene, diesel, petrol and coal burn in the presence of oxygen and give off heat. So these types of substances are called combustible substances. Now on the other hand, some substances do not burn in the presence of air. Like metals, glass do not burn in the presence of air. These substances are called non-combustible substances. Okay. So what is combustible substance? This substance that can burn in the presence of air are called combustible substances like paper, kerosene, diesel, petrol and coal. And these substances which do not burn in the presence of air are called non-combustible substances like all the metals and glass. Now do an activity. Collect some materials like wood, paper, iron nails, kerosene oil, stone, peas, straw, charcoal, matchsticks and glass. And then write here that whether these materials are combustible or non-combustible. Means you have to write here, if wood is combustible, then write here combustible. Okay. So we are doing this activity to find whether a given substance is combustible or non-combustible. Okay. You have to fill this table yourself. Now we have learned that what is combustible and non-combustible substance. Now what are the necessary conditions for combustion? Means now we will learn necessary conditions for combustion. We will learn about the conditions that are necessary for the combustion. So three conditions are necessary for combustion. First is a combustible substance. Means this substance must be combustible. The first and most important requirement is the presence of a combustible substance. a fire cannot start without a combustible substance. So this is first condition. Second is presence of air or oxygen. It means the second condition for combustion, that the oxygen should be present. Means for complete combustion to take place, oxygen should be present in sufficient quantity. Combustion cannot take place in the absence of oxygen. So second condition is presence of air or oxygen. Third is attainment of ignition temperature. So what is ignition temperature? The lowest temperature at which a substance catches fire is called its ignition temperature. Right? We have learnt in the previous chapter that the lowest temperature at which a substance catches fire is called its ignition temperature. So a combustible substance starts burning when it attains a particular temperature. Means when it attains ignition temperature. Different substances have different ignition temperatures. Like a matchstick catches fire when it is rubbed against a rough surface. A burning matchstick can set a piece of paper to fire immediately. Means by the matchstick we can burn a paper, but it cannot set a piece of wood to fire. Means it's not easy to burn wood with the matchstick. This is because wood and paper have different ignition temperature. The ignition temperature for paper, means the ignition temperature of paper is low, whether the ignition temperature of wood is high. So some substances have high ignition temperature and some have low ignition temperature. And the substance which have high ignition temperature do not catch fire easily, while some substances like LPG, petrol, which have low ignition temperature, catch fire easily. And the substance which have very low ignition temperature and can easily catch fire are called inflammable substances. Okay, what is inflammable substance? The substance which have very low ignition temperature and can easily catch fire. Now we will do another activity, activity number 2, and the aim of this activity to show that air, means oxygen, is necessary for combustion. Means in this activity we will try to show that oxygen is necessary for combustion. And for doing this activity, things required are: take 2 identical candles and a glass jar or a beaker. Now procedure is, first of all, light 2 candles, 2 identical candles, okay, and place them on flat surfaces. Means fix 2 candles on flat plates or flat surfaces. Now cover one candle with an inverted glass jar or a beaker. Means cover this candle with an inverted glass jar. So when you cover it with an inverted glass jar, then you will observe that the candle covered with the beaker, means with the glass jar, stops burning after some time. Now why it happens? This happens because all the oxygen present in the inverted glass jar has been used up by the burning candle. Now there is no air left inside the jar. It means there is no oxygen present in the jar. So because of absence of oxygen, the candle stops burning. Okay, so this shows that oxygen is necessary for combustion. So conclusion is means air or oxygen is essential for burning. In the absence of oxygen, combustion cannot take place. For the combustion, oxygen is essential. We have already discussed that the attainment of ignition temperature is also a necessary condition for combustion. So now, in activity number 3, we will try to show that attainment of ignition temperature is necessary for combustion. Okay, the aim of this activity to show that attainment of ignition temperature is necessary for combustion. And for doing this activity, thing required is paper cup. So first of all, take a paper cup. This is a paper cup. Means you have to make a paper cup by folding a sheet of paper. Okay. So make 2 paper cups by folding a sheet of paper. And now put some water in it. This is water. Okay. Put some water into the paper cup. And then place this cup over a flame. This is a candle. Okay. This is a candle flame. So place this cup over a flame for a few minutes. So you will observe that the water in the cup gets heated. As heat supplied to the paper cup is transferred to the water. Okay. All the heat supplied to the paper cup transferred to the water. Thus, the paper does not burn as its temperature does not rise above its ignition temperature. Means due to this heat, the paper will not burn. Okay, because temperature does not rise above its ignition temperature. So now repeat this activity by keeping the paper cup on to the flame. Now the paper cup is on to the flame and there is no water in the paper cup. So when you place it on the flame, when you place this paper cup on the flame, then it starts burning. Why? Because now at this time its ignition temperature is attained. Means the lowest temperature at which the paper starts burning is attained. Okay. So due to attainment of ignition temperature, it will start burning. So it means what? For burning, for combustion, attainment of ignition temperature is necessary. In this case, paper will not burn because heat supplied by the flame to the paper cup is not sufficient. Okay, temperature is low or the ignition temperature is not attained. That's why the paper will not burn in the first case. And when the ignition temperature attained, then paper will burn. So this activity shows that for burning, for combustion, attainment of ignition temperature is very necessary. Now we have discussed that what is combustion and what are the necessary conditions for combustion. Now our next topic is types of combustion. Means now we will discuss about the different types of combustion. So as we know, combustion takes place in the presence of oxygen, but in certain cases it takes place at a very slow rate with a continuous release of energy. Okay. It means the combustion is of different types. So now we will study different types of combustion. First is rapid combustion. First type of combustion is rapid combustion. Now what is rapid combustion? It is a type of combustion in which a substance burns quickly to produce a lot of heat and light. See, in this type of combustion, substance burns quickly. That's why it is called rapid combustion. Okay, and it will produce a lot of heat and light. For example, when a burning matchstick or a lighter is brought near a gas burner, the gas starts burning immediately, right? The gas starts burning immediately by the matchstick or a lighter. So, this is an example of rapid combustion. Now, next is spontaneous combustion. What is spontaneous combustion? It is a type of combustion in which a substance burns suddenly into flames without any external heat or apparent cause. It means what? In this type of combustion, a substance burns suddenly but into flames. Means substance burns into flames and without any external heat or apparent cause. Means without any external heat applied, substance burns suddenly into flames. For example, sodium and phosphorus burns spontaneously when exposed to air. Means sodium can burn at the atmospheric temperature, or sodium can burn when exposed to the air. Okay, so this is an example of spontaneous combustion, and forest fires are also the example of spontaneous combustion, because in the case of forest fire, all the plants burns suddenly into flames. Means flames will produce. Okay, so forest fire is also the example of spontaneous combustion. Next is explosion. Now, what is explosion? It is a type of combustion in which large amount of heat and light is evolved with a loud sound. It means what? In this type of combustion, large amount of heat and light is released and a loud sound is also produced. It is accompanied by liberation of large amount of gas. Means large amount of gases are also released during this combustion. For example, when we burn crackers, then sound and light is produced. Okay, so burning crackers is an example of explosion. Means when crackers are ignited, heat, sound and light are produced. So this is an example of explosion. Now, next type of combustion is complete combustion. The combustion in which the substance gets completely burnt to form the highest oxide of the substance is called complete combustion. It means what? The combustion in which the substance gets completely burned, and on burning it will produce highest oxide of the substance. Means it will produce carbon dioxide, okay, heat and light. This is called complete combustion, and complete combustion takes place in presence of sufficient oxygen. It can't take place in the presence of insufficient oxygen. Okay, means it will require sufficient oxygen. So complete combustion takes place in the presence of sufficient oxygen. Now, next is incomplete combustion. The combustion that takes place in the presence of insufficient oxygen is called incomplete combustion. Means when the oxygen is not sufficient, then it is called incomplete combustion, and it results in the formation of carbon monoxide. Means due to incomplete combustion, carbon monoxide, which is a harmful gas, will produce. Okay. So these are some various types of combustion. Now our next topic is controlling fire. Means in this topic we will learn that how do we control fire. How can we control fire? So we know that fire can be controlled by removing the combustible substance, cutting off the air supply, or by cooling down the combustible substance below its ignition temperature. Now let's discuss the different ways to control a fire. So first way is by using water. Water is the most common fire extinguisher. It cools down many combustible substances below the ignition temperature. Means it can cool down many combustible substances below the ignition temperature. The water vapor formed surrounds the combustible substance. Means when we throw water or when we fall water on the combustible substance, then water vapors will form and it will cuts off the air supply. And if it cuts off the air supply, it means what? It can stop the fire. Water can be used to put out fires caused by wood or paper, but it cannot be used to put out fire caused by oil, petrol, kerosene, etc. We cannot use water to put out fire caused by oil, petrol, kerosene, etc. Why? Because these substances are lighter than water. Means petrol, kerosene, oil are lighter than water and keep floating on water. Okay. So water cannot be used to put out fires caused by these substances. Water should not be used to put off a fire caused by electricity. Why? Because water is a good conductor of electricity. So when you use water to put off fire caused by electricity or to put off a fire caused by electrical equipment, then it can give electric shock to you. Okay, so water should not be used to put off a fire caused by electrical equipment or by electricity. Second way is by using carbon dioxide as fire extinguisher. Carbon dioxide can be used to extinguish the fire caused by petrol, oil, kerosene. Why? Because carbon dioxide is heavier than oxygen and covers the combustible substance. It covers the combustible substance like a blanket, thus cutting off the contact between the combustible substance and air. And it can also be used to extinguish fire caused by electricity. Okay. Because it does not conduct electricity. Carbon dioxide does not conduct electricity. And thus there is no danger of to being injured or no danger of electric shock. Okay. In cylinders of fire extinguisher, carbon dioxide is stored. Okay. Carbon dioxide is stored in liquid form. And when carbon dioxide released from the cylinder, it comes out in vapor form and expands in volume. Thus carbon dioxide can be used to control the fire. Third way is by using a blanket. Means when a person's clothes catch fire. So in that case, a blanket should be wrapped around his body to cut off the oxygen supply, means air supply. Okay, means to stop the fire, to control the fire. Our first topic is flame. Now what is flame? The gaseous light emitting part of a fire is called flame. Okay, what is flame? Gaseous light emitting part of a fire. The substances which vaporize during burning give out flames. For example, in case of candle, means when you burn a candle, the wax around it melts and vaporize and it will give out flames. In case of kerosene oil also, when you burn kerosene oil, then it will also give out flames. Okay. So what is flame? Gaseous light emitting part of a fire is called flame. Now our next topic is zones of a flame. Means now we will study the different zones of a flame with the help of a candle. Okay. Means we will observe the flame of a candle. So a candle flame is divided into 3 zones. First zone is innermost zone, which is also known as dark zone or zone of no combustion. This zone is dark black in color. That's why it is called dark zone. Okay. And it consists of unburnt wax as no combustion takes place. Means in this region, combustion will not take place and wax is unburnt. And why the combustion will not take place? Due to lack of oxygen. Okay, due to lack of oxygen, combustion will not take place in this zone. And it is the least hot zone of the flame. Next is middle zone, which is also known as luminous zone or zone of incomplete combustion. Means in this region, partial combustion takes place due to insufficient supply of oxygen. Means amount of oxygen is not sufficient in this region. That's why partial combustion will take place. Okay, and as a result, wax vapor starts burning with a yellowish flame. Some unburnt carbon particles present in this zone become red hot and impart yellow color to the flame. Okay, and this region is moderately hot and also called luminous zone of the flame. Why it is called luminous zone? Because it gives off bright light. That's why it is called luminous zone of the flame. And it is also known as zone of incomplete combustion. Now next zone is outermost zone, which is also known as non-luminous zone of complete combustion. Means zone of complete combustion. It is faintly visible zone. Means not clearly visible, which is transparent blue in color. In this region, complete combustion of wax vapor takes place with a blue colored flame. Means it will produce blue colored flame. Wax burns to produce heat, carbon dioxide and water vapor. And it is the hottest region of the candle flame. It is also known as non-luminous zone or zone of complete combustion. Okay. Now look at this picture. This picture is showing the different regions or zones of a candle flame. Now this is the outermost zone of the flame, which is blue in color. This is middle zone, which is yellow in color. Means it will produce yellow flames. And this is the innermost zone. So in the innermost zone, combustion will not take place and it is black in color. And it is the least hot zone of the flame. Now middle zone. in this zone, in this region, partial combustion will take place. Why partial combustion? Due to insufficient supply of oxygen, and it will produce yellow flames. It is yellow in color, and then it is moderately hot, means it is moderately hot region. And after that, outer zone. In this zone, complete combustion of wax vapor takes place with a blue colored flame, means it will produce blue colored flame, and it is the hottest part or hottest region of the candle flame. So this is all about the zones of a flame. Now we will study the difference between the three zones of a candle flame. Now what is the difference between these three zones? Innermost zone, middle zone, and then outermost zone. First is air is negligible in this zone. Okay. In middle zone, less air is available. In outermost zone, plenty of air is available in this zone. Second is no combustion takes place. Why? Due to absence of oxygen. In middle zone, partial combustion takes place due to insufficient supply of oxygen. And in outermost zone, complete combustion takes place. Third is, it is the least hot zone. It is hotter than the innermost zone, means it is moderately hot. It is the hottest zone. Outermost zone is the hottest zone. It is dark or black zone. It is luminous zone, and it is non-luminous zone. No byproducts are formed, but in middle zone, carbon particles and carbon monoxide are formed. In outermost zone, carbon dioxide and water vapors are formed. So, these are the differences between the three zones of a candle flame. Now our next topic is fuels. Now what are fuels? Any substance that burns to produce heat and light energy is called fuel, like petrol, diesel, natural gas, petroleum gas. These are fuel. And on the basis of the physical states, fuels are grouped into three categories. Okay, on the basis of physical state, fuels are grouped into three categories. First is solid fuel, second is liquid fuels, and gaseous fuels. Now what are solid fuels? The fuels which exist in solid state at room temperature are called solid fuels. For example, wood, coal, coke, and cow dung cake. They are present in solid state at room temperature. That's why they are called solid fuels. And then liquid fuels. The fuels which exist in liquid state at room temperature are called liquid fuels. For example, petrol, diesel, alcohol, and oil. These are liquid fuels. And after that, gaseous fuels. What are gaseous fuels? The fuels which exist in gaseous state at room temperature. For example, natural gas like CNG and LPG, biogas and petroleum gas. They exist in gaseous state at room temperature. That's why they are called gaseous fuels. Now our next topic is fuel efficiencies. See, we know that different fuels produce different amounts of heat, and the amount of heat energy produced by the complete combustion of 1 kilogram of a fuel is called calorific value of the fuel. It means what? different substances have different calorific value, and higher the calorific value of a fuel, the better is the fuel. Okay, for example, hydrogen. Hydrogen has the highest calorific value and may be considered as the best fuel, but problem is it is highly flammable and there are difficulties to transport and store it. Means hydrogen gas is highly flammable gas, so it catches fire very easily. That's why we face difficulty to transport it or to store it. And methane and LPG have also high calorific values and they can be used as domestic fuel. But the one more advantage is that it will not produce harmful gases. Means they do not cause pollution. Okay, and LPG can also be used in automobiles as fuel. Now our next topic is characteristics of a good fuel. Means what are the characteristics of a good fuel? Now we will discuss some of the characteristics of a good fuel. First is it should be cheap and easily available. Second is it should have high calorific value. Third is it should be safe to handle and transport. Fourth is it should not produce harmful gases. Okay, means when we burn the fuel, it should not produce harmful gases on burning and should not leave behind any undesirable substances like ash. Fifth is it should burn at a moderate rate. Sixth is it should have low ignition temperature. So these are some characteristics of a good fuel. Means a fuel is said to be good if it consists these characteristics. Okay. Although there are many fuels, but none of them is said to be ideal fuel. Why? Because of their limited use and the harmful products obtained from their combustion. Okay. Now, what are the harmful products obtained from burning of fuels? Means now we will discuss about the harmful products which are obtained from burning of fuels. So first is carbon fuels like wood, coal, petroleum release unburnt carbon particles. These fine particles can cause respiratory problems. It means carbon containing fuels like wood, coal, petroleum release unburnt carbon particles into the environment on burning. These fine particles can cause many respiratory problems like asthma. Okay. Second is incomplete combustion of these fuels produce carbon monoxide, which is a poisonous gas. It is dangerous to burn coal in a closed room. Why? Because it can kill a person. It means what? Incomplete combustion of carbon containing fuels like petrol, kerosene and diesel will produce carbon monoxide, which is a poisonous gas. Like if a person is exposed to carbon monoxide for a long time, then that person may even die. That's why it is dangerous to burn coal in a closed room, because on burning coal, it will produce carbon monoxide, which is a poisonous gas. So, the harmful product obtained from burning of coal is carbon monoxide. Third is combustion of most fuels release carbon dioxide and its increased concentration cause global warming. Means most fuels on combustion release carbon dioxide gas, which is a greenhouse gas, and excessive use of such fuels leads to increase the level of carbon dioxide gas in the atmosphere, and this will increase the temperature of the earth. Means this increase in the temperature of the earth's surface, which is called global warming. Means it can cause global warming. Next is burning of coal and diesel produce sulfur dioxide and petrol. Release nitrogen oxide. These oxides mix with rainwater to form their acids and cause acid rain. Means burning of coal and diesel produce sulfur dioxide, and petrol engines release nitrogen oxides, and when these oxides dissolve in the rainwater, then they will form sulfuric acid and nitric acid, and when these acids mix with the rainwater, then it makes the rain acidic. Okay, so it may cause acid rain. Means we can say by the burning of fossil fuels, many harmful products will form, like many harmful gases released like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide.
Students, your today's homework is solve assignment number 1, which have been uploaded on EdQuark, and prepare for test. So this ends for today's lecture. Thank you.